Let's get some perspective on Trump's chances in Iowa and the Republican field as a whole. Matt Schlapp joins me now live from Des Moines, Iowa. He's the chairman of the American Conservative Union and was political director for former President George W. Bush. Matt, thanks for joining us. First of all, I've got to ask you this. Would you, a few months ago, have predicted that Donald Trump would be leading in Iowa, would be leading nationally, and that we would expect it to win the Iowa caucuses tonight?
Well, you know what? You can just roll the tape because I've said it on CNN. A couple of months ago, I think this looked like this could happen. 6 months ago, I don't think there were very many Americans without the last name of Trump who would have predicted this.
Okay, so what are his chances really? I mean, because the big challenge isn't just, doing well in the polls. For him, he is doing well in the polls and has for months.
Yes.
It's turning that into real votes.
Yeah, this is the whole thing for Trump, which is, he's like this amazing persona, but will his operation be able to turn this great enthusiasm and these big crowds into actual votes in the caucus? Now, Governor Branstad and other longtime Republicans in Iowa are telling people that the turnout is going to be big. It's going to be more than 135,000 Republicans who will caucus today. So, and if it's a big number like that, I think it means that Donald Trump has a great chance to win.
So a high turnout favors Donald Trump?
Yes, a high turnout favors Donald Trump because it feeds into this idea that you will get more first-time caucus goers, and most people believe that those first-time caucus goers are motivated and they have the energy of the fact that they think Donald Trump is going to send a message to Washington. If it's a lower turnout and a more typically conservative Christian turnout in the caucuses tonight, that might very well favor Ted Cruz. So looking at that turnout number will be a big indicator.
And the Republican establishment just cannot figure out how to fight back here, right? I mean, you look at Jeb Bush, for instance. You look at candidates who just a few months ago were expected to be front runners. They're polling in the single digits. They're strategically lost here. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, the candidates that we all thought might do great and be leading this race at this time, like Jeb Bush, are in the single digits. And the message is very clear, which is Republicans want to send a message to Washington. They want to break the old model, and they want to send somebody to Washington who's going to break things up. And Ted Cruz fits that model. Donald Trump fits that model. Ben Carson or Carly Fiorina. These are the kind of candidates that send that message. As a matter of fact, you don't have any long-term, long-serving senators or congressmen running for president because the longer you've been in Washington, the less they want you.
But what do you think it is about Donald Trump? Because he may not be an establishment politician, but I mean, he was someone who was born into money, who had many advantages, who's saying some extremely controversial, some would say quite racist things against Muslims and other minorities or sexist things. What is it about him, about some of the outrageous things that he says that continue to not, be an issue for him in terms of his popularity in this campaign?
It's a great question, and, it's confounding to the other Republican candidates who keep assuming that some of these statements are going to knock him down in the polls. But, there's one very clear reason for it. If you look at all the polls and you look at the characteristic that Republicans want in their nominee, they want a strong leader. They think that what's been happening on the Republican side in Washington, while Obama has been running amok with these progressive policies, they haven't seen as much strong Republican leadership as they want. So they want the characteristic of strong leader, someone who will not back down. And the candidate who seems the strongest is Donald Trump, and he just matches the time and he matches the tenor of these voters.
All right, Matt Schlapp, thanks very much for joining us from Des Moines, Iowa. Great to get your perspective here on CNN. A lot more to come this evening. Bloodshed in Syria. Will new peace talks do anything to help